Welcome to Around the World in 274 Days. Today we are in Luanda, Angola, and it's a country I've never thought I'd get to, but we are here. We're going to do a little sightseeing around the city and kind of see what there is to see. Come along and let's see how we do. The streets of Angola look like a typical West Africa country and city. Laura and I lived in Ghana for about 18 months, so we're very familiar with the area. So here we are at Moon Point View. We drove about an hour and a half to get here. And basically it looks like a miniature Zion's National Park or Cedar Breaks National Monument. It is pretty though, so probably worth the drive to get out here. I said Zion's National Park, but I meant Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. I'll see if I can throw up a picture of Bryce here real quick. Moon Point View is about 25 miles outside of Luanda. The erosion from wind and rain over thousands of years have carved out these canyons and ridges and made these weathered rocks look very moon-like, or even another world type situation. The view offers a stunning overlook of this surreal, eroded coastline of Angola. You see the formation of hoodoos, pillars, pinnacles, various gullies and cliffs. Again, like I said, it's similar to Bryce National Park, excuse me. But you also get to throw in the color of the sand and the blue ocean. So it makes for a very fascinating scene. This is the Slave Museum. I've seen many slave museums and slave castles, especially in Ghana. The cruelty that human beings can inflict on other people never ceases to amaze me, nor how one person can think they can rule over another. But I guess that's history of the human race, unfortunately. This museum was founded in 1977 by the National Institute for Cultural Patrimony with the objective of depicting the history of slavery in Angola. The museum displays hundreds of items utilized in the slave trade and is located on the property of a gentleman who was one of the largest slave traders on the African coast in the first half of the 18th century. Looking at some of these items just make you sick, the way they treated other human beings. An interesting thing that I found, and I'm not quite sure what their theory was, but before these slaves were shipped off, they were all baptized. And I thought, how ironic. You baptize them, but you don't give them their freedom. They probably didn't even have their choice of being baptized. Just forced. Unbelievable. This is probably where the ships came in to pick up the slaves and their cargo. Okay, we are heading to kind of a little market. It's like an art market. This first section of the market had a lot of textile type things, cloth, dresses, shirts, and other types of clothing. The one thing I love about Africa, especially West Africa clothing, is the bright colors they used. It's just so cheerful. and maybe that helps them brighten up their lives a little bit. But I love the colors. The second part of the market had all these wood carvings. The artwork was incredible, and the selection was almost never-ending. They did seem to have certain themes. At first I thought, oh, were they just machine-made? But each one was a little bit different, so they all definitely were hand-carved. But these people, this is their livelihood. This is how they survive. We brought home many wood carvings when we came home from Ghana, so I didn't feel like I needed to purchase any more here, but it was fascinating to walk through.
So this monument behind me is a monument to the very first president of Angola after their independence, and they built this thing in his honor. And as you look at it, you can definitely see there's some Soviet influence.
This is Dr. Antonio Neto's mausoleum, who was a pivotal figure in Angola's struggle for independence and its subsequent development. It's located in the capital of Luanda, and this grand structure serves as the final resting place for the country's first president, who is widely revered as a visionary leader and a champion of Angola identity. The Soviet Union had an interesting part to play in their history, and as you look at this mausoleum and their flag, you can see a little bit of Russian influence there. This statue of this elephant is interesting. The trunk apparently broke off, and they supported it with blocks of wood. I think they could have found a better way to do that.
So we are up at the fortress, and have some military equipment on display. These look like old AT-6s. They've been fitted with some armament, but I don't see any identification plates. But that's what it looks like to me, an old AT-6.
This is the fortress of São Miguel. It was built by the Portuguese in 1576. Walking through this hall to get to the interior, it was lined with pictures of a lot of their generals and leaders. They kind of look like some ruthless individuals. Here is a bust of their first president. The fort has a commanding view of the harbor, and it was for many years a self-contained town protected by thick walls and lots of cannons. A little bit of a museum on transportation. There was a Renault, and I'm not quite sure what that was. This was the presidential yacht. Every president needs to have a yacht, and there's an old Soviet car sitting next to it. As we were leaving the fortress, the exit was lined with all these people who had significant roles to play in their history, but since everything was in Portuguese. I really have no idea who they were. But they're obviously paying tribute to some people who made a difference in this area, good or bad.
So this building behind me is called the Iron Palace. And the only reason I can think it's called the Iron Palace is everything's out of iron, including the corrugated stainless steel siding. But apparently it's quite famous.
I said stainless steel. What I meant was it's probably galvanized corrugated siding. Again, it's an interesting building, but still not quite sure why it's on the list of things to visit. The interesting part is when we went inside, the floor was covered with straw and leaves, and apparently that was to protect the marble floor from the traffic of visitors going through. Kind of an interesting way of doing that. That concluded our short visit to Angola. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Around the World in 274 Days, Bob Allen Travels. Thanks for watching.